Another top story we're following at 5. Clark County leaders say they're overwhelmed with complaints about stray animals roaming the streets, and they want solutions from the Animal Foundation.
The shelter faced tough questions from commissioners today, and Fox 5's Regina Ahn is here now to break down what happened. Regina?
Yeah, Kim and John, so today commissioners say they really need answers after numerous complaints have been pouring in about the Animal Foundation, from the community intake program to staffing issues and the shelter not having concrete plans in place. The shelter has received millions of dollars over the years, and county leaders say they need to know where that money has gone. Clark County commissioners expressed their concerns to Hilarie Grey from the Animal Foundation.
Some of the things you're saying are disheartening to me, because that's not what the same people from Best Friends were saying when they were asking Clark County to give $5 million and $6 million and $2 million, right?
The shelter gave a wrap of what they focused on in the past few years, including a report of how they got over pandemic challenges. Gray said they have 550 animals at the shelter, and last year 25,000 animals were brought in.
I don't care about no study in 2019, because that is not the commitment that you made to Clark County. So I find it disheartening.
Commissioner Marilyn Kirkpatrick says she's concerned. Commissioners say they don't understand why they're not fully staffed yet. The foundation last year had more than 3,000 volunteers, and also community intakes are limited to a scheduled appointment now.
We've never had to call and make an appointment to bring in the animals. So when did that start? And if you have 3,100 volunteers, where's the disconnect? Because that's 10 a day on the high level. That's maybe 48 a quarter.
Commissioners say complaints have been coming in nonstop.
We are continuing to work towards reducing those wait times. We know that that is a priority, and it is for us as well.
Along with intake, concerns with a concrete plan. Commissioners say they want reports of where the money is going and trap and release reports, which they haven't gotten.
We are overwhelmed with the number of complaints and concerns that have been expressed to us. And we need to be able to help the public understand what's going on and what our next move is.
Hilarie Grey with the shelter continued to add that they're working in a challenging environment. She adds she's recently fulfilled veterinarians, but is still working to fully staff. The shelter received $5 million of taxpayer dollars last year. And the commissioners say they do need those concrete benchmarks, plans to address the community intake process, employment, use of money, and the adoption processes. They expect an update quarterly. They also want a budget proposal by the end of the day today. We did reach out to the animal shelter for comment, and they did decline. John, back to you.